Hello, K6 amigos. Here is your amigo Leandro reporting directly from Zurich in Switzerland. I gotta be careful because at times I confuse them. And I have here our brand new K6 champion, Jose Luis Latorre. Did I say it well? Okay.
That was perfect.
Who, by a chance, I was able to come here, meet up with him. Not that I'm chasing the champions, although probably I have met a few of them, but it's a pleasure to be meeting with him. Amigo Jose Luis, welcome to the K6 program. How do you feel? How has been the experience for you?
Well, really, it's a surprise, a Christmas surprise, because you announced that on Christmas. So it's pretty nice. Thanks for that.
No, I mean, that's K6, who we have to thank for that.
Yeah. Well, and you came here, visit me, told me, Jose, hey, can we meet? I say, yeah, let's do it. And here we are.
Yeah, and not only here we are. I mean, I mentioned that we are in Zurich, but we're also taking this in a very special place. Where are we, Jose Luis?
This is the Cabaret Voltaire, which also is the house or the birthplace of Dadaism, which is kind of an interesting cultural place.
Yeah, lots of history. I mean, we are literally on a stage and ready to talk about a little bit about K6, the benefits, the champion program. And to start off, I wanted to ask you quickly, Jose Luis, what made you want to come into the champion program, try K6? What pulled you into it?
Well, I like K6. Basically,
why? Why do you like it?
I think its architecture is pretty neat. It solves many problems that other performance tools don't solve, right? You're able to shape the load to match a reality, which was the initial goal that I wanted to really use it for the company where I work, which is Swiss Life. And yeah, I really wanted to shape a different variety of load and simulate the different calls as any other. It was an API ecosystem, right? So I wanted to simulate different APIs that work with games. One API that was sometimes failing, and I wanted to replicate exactly the load and how it was used. And that is really easy to do with K6.
Yeah, that is great functionality that K6 has, and I am glad that you jumped into it or identified that it was good in those type of functionalities that you were looking for, especially for API. It's something that I think also brings a lot of benefits. And speaking of now that you are very well versed with K6, you are a champion, but there I wanted to ask, what made you decide to become a champion?
In fact, nothing. I was not aiming to become a champion.
What? So how did that happen?
I guess I started talking with the people on K6, concretely with Nicole, right? Great person. Hi, Nicole.
Hola, Nicole.
Hola. She speaks perfect Spanish, by the way. And you can check. If you want to learn K6, his first week on K6 is incredible. So I truly recommend it. It's one of the best guidance to get into K6. So that's it. That shocked me, and I got into contact with her. She helped me in a couple of ways, and I decided simply to give it back. So I asked my team lead, Philip, if I could create kind of a template and put it as open source. And he said, yes, of course, because Swiss Life, we do a lot of open source. And he was happy with that. And that brought me, okay, I could use that to deliver a talk at a conference. And I proposed one talk. It was accepted. And, well, suddenly that one conference followed another.
That's an interesting path, because you just started wanting to talk about the tool, talk about the benefits, not that I think there wasn't even a champion program yet or anything like that.
It was created like this last part of, I think, last month of 2022.
Yeah, it's very recent. But an amazing part is that you were already curious about talking about K6. You were already very excited about it, to give a talk, to promote it at your company. I think it's really, really cool and a very good way to show what a champion means. Someone that, even if there was not a program, you were already talking about it. You couldn't stop talking about it, right?
Yeah, well, I guess a lot of part that I dedicate to this is done in my free time. So, you have to really like it.
Yeah, well, some things that you do in your free time is like a hobby, right?
Yep.
Means that it's
Yeah, I'm giving some conferences. I organize a user group here in, well, now two user groups, GraphQL user group, Zurich, and the .NET Zurich user group. So,
we'll get into that in a moment. But before we get there, I just wanted to get some confessions from you.
Oops.
How has been the experience of using K6, the type of projects that you have worked on? Findings, I am familiar with some things that you have been on, but I would like you to share what has been the things that you have been doing with K6.
basically performance testing on API level, not at HTML level, not use the latest and greatest functionality. Even now you can use it to do UI testing, right? Without a UI, which is quite something. And in that aspect, I think it's been quite nice. So whenever I got stumbled, the forums and Slack channels are really responsive, and everything has been really sweet experience. So my decision to go through to it and use it and go further has been because also the community behind it is really responsive. And also whenever I had a problem, that happened last year when I was preparing for this new talk. I think we have been discussing on that. Then I found a small issue, and also Pepe, your colleague, was very keen on relaying that and creating a bug entry for what I found, which I really like. Honest, clear conversation, agile, really truly agile between customer and persons that use your tool. I think that part is also a nice thing. And also, what I consider one of the best parts is the way to generate the load, the executors. Whoever designed that, I don't know who that is. I think maybe it was the CEO, but I'm not sure. That person was a genius because it makes everything so simple.
We will have to make sure to figure out who exactly was it, because I know who's working on it, but I don't know who created it or who was the mastermind behind it. And but I'll make sure that your message is delivered to whoever.
And one of the most brilliant things is, I think this is from 2 years ago. I think it was in 2021, mid of 2021, you launched the open model for the executors. We have an interesting discussion on the Slack channel. If you're curious, go to Slack in K6 and go there, because it's an interesting discussion. But I think the open model is the best K6 has ever done, apart from K6 itself. I really like that part.
What did you enjoy the most about that module, or why are you so excited about it?
First, with open model executors, you don't depend on the system under test, right? If you use the open source version, you can create as many VUs, virtual users, as you want, or you can preload 3,000 if your computer supports it, right? They have a cost. And then you can tell what load do you want to hit the system under test, and it will use as many VUs as it needs.
The discussion that you're referring to is the open system and closed system one?
Yes, exactly. You know which one I'm talking about.
I remember.
Yes. And the nice thing about that is, with this, you can ensure that the test system, the system that is generating the test with K6, we always use that throughput, given that he has enough VUs, of course. But in the other case, imagine that you use 10 VUs and you use the closed model. If the system under test is under load,
it gets really slow.
And suddenly it cannot process them and takes, imagine, 10 seconds. You make the 10 requests.
And the throughput?
The test generation system cannot send more. It's stuck because it's waiting for the other one. So it's the system under test is influencing the test generation.
Yeah. It's a problem that, I mean, in my past life as a consultant, generating load or trying to keep up those throughputs, there are some schools that say like, hey, you should stop generating that much throughput if you're already slowing down the system, and some others like, no, the test has to keep generating this throughput regardless of the system slowing down. And it's important to have those capabilities.
Yes. You have the closed model if you want, but to me, if I want to mimic reality, one client system will not stop sending requests.
Well, real-time users may say like, I'm out of here, and stop sending.
Yeah, but if it's an automated API or a microservices system,
That's a very good point. And again, it depends on what you're trying to test.
Yep.
What is the best one? But I mean, I'm not saying that this capability is useless or no. There are separate environments or cases or test scenarios where you may need to have that. And on some other tools that we didn't have something that functionality, it was tough. You had to no control on the number of virtual users, or you had to pay for those extra virtual users, which wasn't that pretty, right?
yes. Well, with the open source K6 version, you can do whatever you want. With the cloud version, you still have to pay even if you generate the load in local. If you report it to the cloud, you are using these the allocated views.
No, but
it's
the functionality is a big difference. And I don't know if we should be talking that much about price, but there's no difference in with other solutions.
Well, I think one of the also very nice points is compare, for example, to, well, the one we cannot mention, or maybe we can.
There are commercial tools. You want?
Yeah, but it is code-based. Code-based means you can take the code, which is your test, you can deploy it to DevOps, and it's part of the code, and you can execute that in your DevOps pipeline. It is fantastic. There are other tools that are UI-based, and the performance is like 1/10 of K6. And sadly, they are either they are still used. I don't know why.
Yeah, heavier solutions, but it depends on also what do you use them for. K6 is awesome for this type of. It's a more efficient tool, if you ask me.
For me, it makes easy to understand a test and to shape the load that you want exactly for what you want. Either it's a user, either it's an application that is attacking your system, or you want to simulate that. Not attacking, but consuming your API, either with HTTP REST or GraphQL.
No. It's. I think it's because some of the commercial tools that you mentioned that are heavier or with a GUI or that have more dependencies are heavier. Were good for a certain type of test or a certain time. Nowadays, as you say, we have mostly GraphQL, we have mostly advanced API solutions, microservices, some of these things that it's better to be light, integrable with pipelines and continuous integration.
Yep.
I can tell, I totally agree with the point that you're mentioning. And going back a little bit to the Champions program and to ramp down with this short interview that we are taking an advantage to do, what are your first steps or plans as a K6 champion? What are you planning to do this 2023?
Yeah, at the moment, this morning, I was just accepted to my first conference. Is .NET Days in Romania, which is organized by Irina Scurtu. And I'll be going there to speak about a talk that I finished defining end of the year. It's breaking your APIs to make them stronger.
Okay.
I was also tempted to call it Murder in the Cloud.
It's a creative title. Both are good. Is that reference to that API that we were talking about before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes and no. So that's one thing, right? I think that testing to the limit your API, you always find
you find a bottleneck,
the weakest link, and then you can improve it, and then you can keep
polishing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's and definitely. I mean, for context, there are some other experiments that Jose Luisa is doing. I'm finding interesting bottlenecks in Azure. I may be spoiling it a little bit.
No, don't worry about that. I'm talking now with the product group, or the people I was talking with the product group. We'll see what they get out of it. So apart from being a K6 champion, I'm a Microsoft MVP. That gives me the ability to, this service ticket, I want to escalate it.
Communicate some of the findings.
Yeah, so I escalated that on December, and now it's
being looked at.
Exactly.
Hopefully we can find, and what I think it's going to be really interesting if you can generate some content explanation of what are your findings into how do you use K6 in some of these things. I mean, because you have already found them. What is the cause? That's diagnosis.
Yeah, well, I don't know that much about the infrastructure in Azure, but it's something surrounding the app services, basically.
You definitely already identified that there's a problem.
Yep.
Now the diagnosis part is where we are waiting on some input.
And I know how to fix it.
What?
I know how to fix it. So some of the instances of the app service are not affected, others are. So it's curious.
Well,
So I guess it's about the infrastructure, exact infrastructure where they are deployed that may have a bottleneck. As we discussed, they may have either a connection pool or some networking device creating these pauses or delays.
it's well, and because I don't want to spoil too much this part, for the audience who doesn't know, this is a big like a detective story because you are trying to figure out finding with the observability platform, with observability platforms, with K6 generating more load, generating more executions. It's a big endeavor. It's super entertaining. And I feel that there are going to be some talks and content that you will be going over around it. And aside from that, any other things for the year that you're...
Well, I was thinking, but I was thinking also to... I don't want to over-compromise, but other thing is to generate... I have a YouTube channel, which I have not used because I have a bit of a... I'm sometimes scared to produce... You know that as well. You're a YouTuber. You have been doing that for many years. And sometimes you put yourself in front and think, oh, this is not good enough.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel that it's kind of an imposter syndrome, but instead of developing, apply to...
I wouldn't say imposter syndrome, it's the artist syndrome. You are not pleased until, let's add another detail here.
Yes.
Oh, let's add another detail here, and you can keep improving.
Yes.
But...
So I like to generate some content about K6. I was thinking about what to do. I know that you people, I was talking with Nicole, maybe with Pepe, that there was interest to generate some educational content. So I was thinking maybe on that, but we can discuss that once we have finished the session, right, this recording. But that is something on my mind, but I'm happy to discuss it with you or to collaborate closer. I think if you create engagement, for example, this last year, I was also generating some content in Spanish together with
stay
Microsoft.
tuned. Yeah, content in Spanish. That's another one.
Yep. I was doing that for Microsoft, for Live Learn, which is a platform they generating content. So together with Bruno Capuano and Winef and Laurent Bunion, I was generating some content, and it was a pleasure. We were like 1 week. That day we met, we studied the topic, and we talked like 1 hour about it. Like a live episode, people were commenting, and that was really very nice experience. So maybe we could do something like that.
Absolutely.
Now I'm putting you in
no.
compromise if you say yes.
No, it's not a compromise. I'm super happy to keep generating some content, to generate something that helps the people that want to start playing with K6, learning performance, figuring out the ways around the performance world.
Yep.
It's I'm always happy, and
So-
let me know. And well,
Yeah, we can talk about that, but if we do it, we bring Nicole in.
that's gonna be interesting. Let's see what does she have to say about that. And with that, amigo, welcome, congratulations for becoming a K6 champion. And for everyone watching, stay tuned because, as you can tell, you're gonna be hearing a little bit more about Jose Luis. And congratulations,
Yeah,
Jose
thanks.
Luis. And thank you for letting me
Thanks,
come
Leandro.
here and steal some of your time and bringing me to this awesome place. K6ers, stay tuned. And thank you very much for taking a look or an ear to hearing this quick and little interview. Welcome, Jose Luis, and thank you.
Thank you, Leandro.
Adiós.
Ciao.